welcome to the channel. I'm Inisha, and this week I watched Jenna Ortega's favourite film. The Passion of Joan of Arc is a 1928 silent film directed by Carl Theodor Dreyer, and according to Movie.com, my favourite website for film synopses, I'm not entirely sure why that is, but I think it's because I enjoy the sleek design of the movie website. The film follows Joan of Arc on trial for heresy after she claims she has spoken to God. She has been imprisoned and subjected to inhuman treatment and scare tactics at the hands of church court officials who attempt to bully her into changing her story. Her punishment will go on to then earn her perpetual martyrdom. And for some context, Joan, or Joan of Arc, was a peasant maid who heard voices from God, which sent her off on a journey where she led the French army to several decisive victories against the English in the 100 Years' War. This became a prominent point of discussion as she was brought to the wider public consciousness when Joan's status as a military hero had been used as a call of arms throughout France during World War I, and further still when Pope Benedict XV canonized Joan as one of the patron saints of France in the 1920s. Which then will go on to lead Dreyer, the director, to want to make a film about her, but not only that, he decides to, instead of depicting an epic tale following her entire life, he would base this film on a transcript of Joan's trial, a document that had been published in 1921 by historian Pierre Champion, who would go on to work as a consultant for this film. Thereby flipping the script from heroism to despair, Dreyer immediately changes the current context people view Joan from, and the realistic anguish which is then shown on screen is why French director Jean Cocteau famously says that this film plays like a historical document from an era in which cinema doesn't exist. Now, what did I think of this film? I'll start by saying I don't watch a lot of silent films, it's not my forte, but this is one of the most famous silent films ever made, so I was very excited to watch it because of that. And after watching it, I think despair is a key word in describing this film. Ebert says that legends from this set tell of Dreyer forcing Maria Falconetti, the actress playing Joan, to kneel painfully on stone and then wipe all expression from her face so the viewer could read suppressed or inner pain. He filmed the same shots again and again, hoping that in the editing room he could find exactly the right nuance in her facial expression. Falconetti never made another film, due to the pains of this film or whatever other reason. So this would be her only and defining role, helping to set another facet of iconicism to this film and this character. The film uses a lot of bizarre angles and close-ups to highlight Joan's anguish. There is a mismatch of eye lines where the camera is angled from below but the subject is looking right, or the camera is set up from the left with the actor still looking right. Andrew Barrett, writing for the BFI, explains that in the book The Films of Carl Theodor Dreyer, David Bordwell statistically summarizes that of the film's over 1,500 cuts, fewer than 30 carry a figure or object over from one shot to another, and fewer than 15 cuts constitute genuine matches on action. All of which is accompanied by the fact that all of the shots are close-ups, working together to further obscure spatial relations. And because there are no master shots letting you in on how the court really looks, Joan and her perpetrators and their faces are the key components of the film, with close-up faces in the foreground up against plain white backgrounds. Dreyer eliminates any elements that would allow for depth perception, writes Barrett. Every technique has been single-mindedly deployed to keep our concentration focused on Joan's interior state. There was actually an incredibly elaborate and expensive set that was built for this film, yet it was not used as the film is primarily filmed inside the court and her cell, so it was mainly used in the end to make these characters live wholly within this world, which is partly why Cocteau's quote rings so true. The court here feels real. Ebert also says the decision to go with the plain, stark backgrounds could be because Dreyer wanted to avoid the picturesque temptations of a historical drama, which by choosing to focus on the trial and not her battles is something that I do believe he would have desired staying away from. Matthew Dessem writes that throughout the film we will see Joan behaving intelligently and honourably, but not heroically, reinforcing that decision of drawing away from making a historical drama. And as a result, her face and her emotions become the driving force of this film. The camera hones in on Joan, expressing an impassive look and shot without any makeup. No one in this film actually wears any makeup, something that would have been quite common in this time period and usually used to bring some colour and dimension to someone's face, to a character, because otherwise they would have only ever been seen in black and white. So being seen as washed out constantly supported the feeling here of being defeated that Joan is sincerely experiencing throughout the film. There is an inward pain being reflected at all times upon her face and her eyes, which are a particular highlight in this film. Falconetti imbues her eyes with an irrevocable sadness, and this is why this frame far extends beyond the reach of this film and gives this film iconic visual status. So what do I think about all of this? It's a very interesting piece of film history. The film tells the story from a very unique and intriguing angle, and I think it's visually remarkable. But I'm not sure I found it very engaging. I'm always going to be a person who prefers dialogue-heavy films, and with none of that here, some blank faces and a restrained sadness permeating throughout the film, it was never going to be my cup of tea. Although I do think it's a cultured choice and a visually stimulating one to the point of it becoming iconic, and therefore it's a very respectable favourite film pick. So that's all I have to say about this film. Go and watch The Passion of Joan of Arc, or don't. Your future with this film is up to you, and as always, thank you for watching. Like the video if you liked it, and subscribe if you're really about it. Hope you have a great day, and see you next time.